What happens when your fake marriage becomes legally binding? 2 years ago, I signed a marriage license to keep a stranger alive. His name was Sam. We'd met exactly twice, once at a friend's cookout, once in a cardiology waiting room. He had a failing heart, a 5-year-old daughter named Ellie, and no insurance that would ever approve the transplant he needed to survive. My employer's plan would. All it required was one word on the enrollment form: spouse. So we got married at a courthouse on a Tuesday. No rings, no guests, no vows, just 2 signatures and a stranger's life hanging on them. We wrote our rules on the back of a pharmacy receipt and taped it to the fridge. Rule 1, separate rooms. Rule 2, this is paperwork, not a relationship. Rule 3, the day Sam gets his new heart, we quietly divorce. The insurance company sent an investigator within the month. Spousal fraud is a felony, and they wanted proof we were real. So we moved in together and learned to lie convincingly. I memorized his medications. He memorized my coffee order. We hung photos we staged in a single afternoon. Pretending to be a family, it turned out, is just doing the things a family does until they stop feeling like pretending. Ellie was the part I never had to fake. She'd crawl into my lap during her cartoons. She started hiding the blue gummy bears in my coat pocket because I once mentioned they were my favorite. One night, she had a nightmare, walked right past Sam's door and knocked on mine instead. Can you check for monsters? I checked for monsters. I checked every single night after that. On the hard days, I'd come home to find crayon drawings waiting on my pillow, lopsided hearts with my name spelled wrong inside them. Sam got worse before he got better. Some mornings I'd find him gray and gasping on the kitchen floor, and I'd drive him to the ER at speeds that should have gotten me arrested. I learned the night nurses by name. I learned to fill out his intake forms from memory. I learned that the man I'd married as a favor had a laugh that made the whole apartment feel warmer, and that I had somehow started living for the sound of it. We still slept in separate rooms, still called it paperwork, still joked about the divorce we'd file the second he was well. Then the call came at 2 a.m., a donor heart, a match, surgery in the morning, everything we had been praying for. That night, Sam knocked on my door for the first time. If I don't make it, he started. I told him to stop. He didn't. If I don't make it, the marriage makes you Ellie's legal guardian. I filed the paperwork last week. I need her to have someone. I need it to be you. I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor outside his room until sunrise, listening to him breathe, terrified of the silence that would mean it had stopped. The surgery took 11 hours. When the surgeon finally pushed through the doors, she scanned the waiting room and asked one question. Which of you is the spouse? He's asking for someone, and I can only allow next of kin. I stood up so fast my chair clattered to the floor. That's me, I said. I'm the spouse. And I had never meant 3 words more in my life. He was alive. Barely, but alive. When they let me into recovery, he was buried under a dozen machines, pale as paper, and he found my hand before he even opened his eyes. You stayed, he whispered. I signed the consent form, I said. The fake marriage just saved your real life. He almost laughed, then winced. Nothing about it was ever fake to me. A week later, he came home. I found the divorce papers in the kitchen drawer, the ones he'd drafted the very week we married, dated, and never filed. Underneath them was a second envelope. The guardianship forms signed, making me Ellie's mother if the worst had ever come. He had chosen me twice, once to live for, once to leave her with. I tore the divorce papers in half over the sink. Rule 3 is canceled, I told him. Ellie was standing in the doorway in her pajamas. Does that mean you're staying forever? She asked. I looked at Sam. Sam looked at me. Forever, I said. Last month, we got married again. Same courthouse, same Tuesday. Except this time there were rings and a 5-year-old scattering flower petals down the aisle, and 2 people finally signing their names for the only reason that was ever real.